Let's talk about some clubs doing some good business in the transfer market. Today, I want to talk about Blackpool. Blackpool finished 9th in League One last season after a very impressive second half of the season. Steve Bruce became their manager in early September. He was their squad for a 4-1 victory against Bristol Rovers on the last day. And here is their squad after all the loan players returned to their parent clubs. And with the release list above my head matching up to the crosses. Sonny Carey has signed for Charlton and Beasley has gone to Burton. Pennington has also gone to Bradford. Apologies if I've missed anyone. What you'll notice straight away is that Blackpool have kept the majority of their squad, but they have lost players in key areas, especially to loans. Tyra, Baggett and Ennis returning to their parent clubs. So let's look at some of the business they've done so far. O'Donnell has been released and Tyra has returned back to Everton, so the goalkeeper position has been really important for Blackpool. They've signed Franco Ravazzoli from Wickham. I don't actually know that much about Franco, but Blackpool have needed a goalkeeper and they've recruited in that position. They've also re-signed Niall Ennis from Stoke. Ennis spent the back end of last season on loan at Blackpool, scoring 7 in 19. He signed on a permanent deal and I know Blackpool fans are very happy about this one. It's probably true that they've beaten a number of other clubs to his signature. Here is my favourite of their signings so far, George Honeyman from Millwall. Honeyman is a versatile, very experienced midfielder who spent majority of his career in the Championship. And he's played at least 35 games in each of the last 8 seasons. There's no doubt that he's a high-end League One player. At least. With Elkan Baggett returning to Ipswich, centre-half is a really key position for Blackpool. They've signed Michael Hickway, a very, very experienced centre-back. Spent his last 3 seasons at Sheffield Wednesday. Steve Bruce was a centre-back in his day, so you'd expect his standards are very high in that position. To add even more depth to that position, they've signed Fraser Horsfall from Stockport. This is a very, very impressive signing. He's been superb for Stockport the past 3 seasons. Very strong centre-back, good in the air, and continues the common theme of signings for Blackpool of experience. So when you put their squad together, it looks a little bit like this. Again, apologies if I put any players in the wrong positions. I don't watch Blackpool week in, week out. I'm a Gillingham fan. And apologies if I've missed anyone. This looks like a very good core of a squad. They are probably 2 or 3 signings away from a real good challenge in League One next season. I'm not sure if Blackpool fans agree, but perhaps the wider areas are maybe the weakness. Certainly in the fullback areas. Again, Blackpool fans, if you could add any names to this squad, please feel free in the comments. So what are the positives for Blackpool? Well, Steve Bruce obviously has very good pulling power. A lot of Blackpool fans have told me that. The squad is very, very experienced and there's at least 2 or 3 Championship level players in there. They've also signed a goal scorer, a familiar goal scorer in Niall Ennis. Negatives. Some may argue that Steve Bruce's style of play is maybe outdated. Perhaps with the older squad there may be injuries, a lack of depth. That's me looking for negatives. So my current prediction for the season, I think a strong playoff chase for Blackpool. And there's still plenty of time left in the transfer market.